perhaps the most important thing we wanted to do was to make sure that throughout the small organisation, makes it sound very grand. I mean, we've got a board about 10 folk and 5 permanent members of staff and various volunteers and friends, but to make sure that throughout the organisation we understood how what we were doing contributed to the impact we wanted to achieve. So I suppose what in these sort of monitoring and evaluation processes called input to outcome and impact monitoring and evaluation. And so we had quite a discussion about that and how to improve it. And that was that question definition was really, really useful.
And certainly the communication part of the Digibort report we felt was really important, and Alex's support throughout that process was absolutely fantastic. And for somebody like me that starts to get a bit concerned about what happens next with anything to do with digital or anything to do with communication via sort of the internet and stuff and the web, I found the process really, really supportive. I think for us as a staff team to go from the conversation about communication between ourselves and the trustees, maybe not as tight as it could be, maybe there were some areas that we needed to look at, that would help us move forward, to see that process evolve all the way through submitting some of the data we already collected but maybe didn't utilize, looking at how it could be used, and then seeing where it goes next was really, really important for all the staff to be on that journey with that, and to have Andrew there as well showed that the trustees were invested in this process, and I think that was really important.
I think the question definition aspect of this was really, really important. But when we're looking at a question like this of improving communications and governance, you set off on a journey where if you knew the answer, you'd already have done something about it. And in order to know the answer, you have to know the question. And in this case, we didn't actually completely understand what questions we were asking. And so that whole process of question definition was really, really important. And it was going through that allowed us to zoom in on what it was we wanted to do. And having zoomed in on what it was we wanted to do, then Alex, as I said, bravely took on learning about Power BI and dashboards and did it. And so there was a concrete outcome, which we've already used.
It was really important to have somebody external. I think it was somebody who could see the bigger picture, who could tease stuff out of the staff, tease stuff out of the trustees, look at things logically. And it was really important to have that outside view. And also, I think we can get bogged down with the organisation and what we think is right. Somebody external can bring in different viewpoints, different ideas, challenge us about why we're doing something in a certain way.
It was a really good example of consultancy where we had somebody in who is from the sector, believed in what we were doing, wanted to help us make progress, and was determined and flexible in doing that. The other thing I'd add is that, as I said at the introduction, Catherine, we're quite a small team. And one of the well-known issues in small teams is you spend an awful lot of time in the business and not enough time on the business. And Alex was able to give us a bit of extra capacity to gather up the thoughts and the ideas and then to put them back to us in a form that was written up, understandable, and with some clear, actionable things that can happen afterwards. Whereas I have to go back to my day job, and in a sense, so do Jules and the team. They have to go back to opening a museum and greeting visitors and, checking there's enough loo roll in the loos. And with those day-to-day things going on, you can sometimes think, oh, what was it we discussed last time? But with Alex on board to help record that and make it actionable, I don't think we could have done it, frankly, without the consultant. Data is also for small organizations. You don't have to be Amazon Web Services to be getting involved in data. And it's not as frightening as it looks. And we found quite quickly that we've got a lot of really good data, and exploring it helps us. And so things like being able to illustrate your visitor numbers over the years, over the months, and intersect that with things like, when is Easter? When are the breaks? What's the weather like? To understand what your audience generation is like, and then perhaps connect that back into digital visits to your website to understand perhaps what people are doing before they come to see you. So do explore it and be open-minded and curious.